Hi everyone, I'm Stitch Notes. Today is a very special video because last night I posted a reel on Instagram and I said if I get to 12k, I'm gonna share a free pattern for this cute dino in a cake. But I didn't expect to hit 12k on the same night. So here I am today sharing with you the pattern. I'm sorry if there are a few mistakes in the video or in the pattern. If you spot any mistakes, please comment down below and I am going to correct the video in some way. I have done everything overnight to share the pattern with you as soon as possible to show my gratitude. So I am a human being, I am alone in this, so there might be a few mistakes. Please, if you spot them, let me know down below. A few things before starting, there are two versions, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this, but I'm also going to tell you how to make this one. So it's almost a two-in-one pattern. Please don't copy this pattern, don't sell it as yours, as I'm sharing it with you for free as a sign of gratitude. Again, don't translate it, don't do anything wrong, okay? This is my work and I'm sharing it with you for free. If you want, please consider subscribing and following me on Instagram at Stitch Notes. And if you recreate one of these two, please let me know and tag me on Instagram so I can share you with my followers and put you in my highlights. Thanks and enjoy the video. Let's start with the materials. Some white, yellow, and berry yarn. I used Himalaya velvet, a 4.5 or 4 millimeters hook, a stitch marker, pins and needles, 4 millimeters eyes, a pair of scissors, and stuffing. We start by making a magic ring, and then we make 6 single crochets in a magic ring. In the second row, we make 6 increases all around for a total of 12 stitches. In the third row, we make the first stitch, put the stitch marker, and the total of stitches for this row is of 12 single crochets. In the fourth row, we remove the stitch marker, we make the first stitch, attach the stitch marker on it, and then we make 3 more single crochet, 4 increases, and then 4 single crochet for a total of 16 stitches in the fourth row. In the fifth row, the total of stitches is of 16 single crochets all around. In the sixth row, we have 4 single crochets, fold the creases, and 4 single crochets for a total of 12 single crochets all around. At this point, we fasten off without cutting the yarn and we attach the eyes between row 3 and row 4 with 4 stitches in between, more or less. Once you're happy with the placement, you can put the safety thingy in the back. Do the same on both sides. Row 7 is 4 single crochets, 2 decreases, 4 single crochets for a total of 10 stitches all around. Row 8 is 4 single crochets, 2 decreases, and 2 single crochet for a total of 8 stitches all around. Fasten off without cutting the yarn and stuff the head firmly. While you're stuffing, you can also give it the shape that you want. For example, I tend to put a bit more stuffing in the nose part. Now we start with the neck, and the neck is basically formed with 8 single crochets all around. Now, depending on the size of yarn and hooks, you want to add or remove some rows. For example, I made 7 rows, but remember that the smaller the hook and the yarn size, the more rows you want to add. At this point, you can stuff the neck firmly. Remember, it's important that you put a lot of stuffing in there because it needs to hold the shape. Remove the stitch marker and make 2 or 3 or even 1 single crochet to align to the back of the head. This is very important and the number changes for everyone. I had to make 3, for example, but it is important that it aligns with the back of the head, and put the stitch marker there. Now we start counting from this spot. We increase in the same stitch and then we make 7 single crochets all around. The total for this row is of 9 stitches. In row 17, we make 1 single crochet, 2 increases, and 6 single crochet for a total of 11 stitches. In row 18, we make 2 single crochets, 3 increases, and 6 single crochets for a total of 14 stitches all around. Please don't do like I did. I made 2 stitches and then put the stitch marker in the first. Always put the stitch marker on the first stitch that you make. Otherwise you can lose the count and get confused. I'm a bit messy, but don't do as I do. In row 19, we make 3 single crochets, 4 increases, and 7 single crochets for a total of 18 stitches all around. And at the end of this, we switch to white, so we actually leave the last stitch unfinished and we attach the white yarn. I actually filmed this part, but I can't find the footage, so yeah, you kind of have to well, I think you know how to attach some yarn, but if you can't, if you don't know how to switch colors, please look it up online. After switching to white, we are at row 20 and we make 2 single crochets and 1 increase 6 times all around for a total of 24 stitches. In row 21, we make 3 single crochets and 1 increase 6 times, and at the end of this row we will have 30 stitches. In row 22, we have 4 single crochets and 1 increase 6 times all around for a total of 36 stitches. In row 23, we have 36 single crochets in the back loop only of the previous row. In row 24 and 25, we have 36 single crochets all around, and at the end of row 25, we switch to another color, which will be the color of the filling and the decoration. In row 26 and 27, we have 36 single crochets in the color that we've chosen for the filling, and I usually hide the tails in between the stitches. At the end of row 27, we switch to white again, and we have row 28 and 29, which are 2 rows of 36 single crochets. In row 30, we have 4 single crochets and a decrease for 6 times in the back loop only, for a total of 30 stitches. Decreasing in the back loop can be difficult, so what I do is I go with the hook in the back loop, I open it up a bit, and then I do my decrease. See, works much better. In row 31, we have 3 single crochets and a decrease for 6 times, for a total of 24 single crochets. In row 32, we have 2 single crochets and a decrease 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. After row 32, my suggestion is to start stuffing, and again stuff it very firmly. Row 33 is a single crochet and a decrease 6 times for a total of 12 stitches all around. In row 34, we just decreased 6 times all around for a total of 6 stitches on this row. At the end, fasten off, cut the yarn, and using a needle, we go through the front loops only of the last 6 stitches, and then we hide the rest of the yarn inside of our plushie, just like I'm showing you in the video. Can't really explain what's going on. I know this might be wrong, but this is how I do it, okay? For the decoration, we go in the front loops of row 23 and we attach the same color that we used for the filling. We pull up a loop. I can do it. Then we chain one. Oops. Yeah, we chain one. And we make a bubble stitch. A bubble stitch starts like a double crochet. Yarn over, hook into the stitch, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops. But at this point, we yarn over again, hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 stitches, and we have 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 4 loops on the hook, and one last time, yarn over, hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, 5 loops on the hook. At this point, we yarn over and we pull through all 5 loops. In the next front loop, we just make a slip stitch. And we continue like this all around until we reach the end. To hide the yarn tail, I usually push it inside with a needle. At the end, we slip stitch in the last front loop, and then we slip stitch in the first bubble stitch. We fasten off, cut the yarn, and hide the yarn inside the plushie. The same decoration goes at the bottom, and we go with our hook through the front loop of row 31, and we do the exact same thing all around. For the tail, we start with 4 single crochet in a magic ring, then 4 single crochet all around, then we continue with 1 single crochet, 2 increases, and 1 single crochet for a total of 6 stitches in row 3. Let's make the first stitch of row 4, attach the stitch marker, and row 4 is 2 single crochets, 2 increases, 2 single crochets for a total of 8 stitches. Row 5 has 3 single crochets, 2 increases, and 3 single crochets for a total of 10 stitches. At the end, we can fasten off and cut the yarn, but leave a long tail for sewing. I left a tail that was a bit too short and I had some problems when I had to sew it on, so please leave it longer than I left it. And cut the excess yarn inside. For the foot, we make 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and then 3 rows of 6 single crochets. You need to make 4 of these, so repeat this 4 times basically. When you're done, you can slip stitch in the next stitch, and get rid of the extra yarn, leaving a long tail for sewing. Remember to stuff the legs and the tail. Now that we have all the pieces, it's time to sew them on. I like to place down the tail before sewing it, and I align it with the back of the neck and the head, and I pin it down with a pin before sewing it on. And the same applies to the feet. I pin them down and then I sew them on. I just space them in a nice way. I can't really say in which stitches they are placed because that didn't really count, but just space them in a way that your dino can stand and then sew them on. If you want to make this version of the dino kind of floating, you need to attach the back feet 2 stitches away from the tail and the front feet 3 stitches away from the back feet. And there you have it. Thanks for watching, and I hope I see you next time. Bye.